September 1931. This was for me the first moment of some kind of realization. I was conscious for the first time of a deep response to Baba's pure love. I had not felt that intense, great spiritual love before. I felt at that moment complete love for Baba, and for the first time in my life experienced that ecstasy of divine love that the mystics experience. Such was the impact upon me, echoing day and night in my heart. Kitty Davey.
London, 1932. A long-awaited promise fulfilled. Meher Baba calls his close Western disciples to India for the first time. A flurry of newspaper articles appear. Friends and family are stunned. But the group is determined to go. Baba himself arranges every detail of the journey.
Meher Baba sent for 10 of us from England and America to come to India. Needless to say, the parents and relations of some of us did not approve of our going and leaving our work. How could we explain the spiritual purpose of the trip when we barely realized it ourselves? Kitty Davey.
The tour was to be as follows. Taking a boat from Genoa to Bombay, 3 weeks traveling around India, then a boat from Colombo to Japan to Shanghai, 3 weeks there for spiritual work, a visit to Kitty's brother Herbert at Nanking, across the Pacific to Honolulu, San Francisco, and direct to Hollywood, where Baba was to break his silence, then Canada, and back to England. Finally, after much preparation, the group boarded the SS Victoria, bound for Bombay. Among the party were Princess Nerina Machiavelli, an internationally renowned Italian actress and socialite married to George Machiavelli of Georgian nobility. Elizabeth Patterson, an American businesswoman. Kitty Davey, a music teacher from London. Margaret Crask, a well-known ballet instructor and owner of a ballet school in London. Delia de Leon, an actress. Minta Toledano, Delia's sister and also an actress. And Quentin Todd, a British actor and producer who had recently been traveling with Meher Baba in Egypt and whom Baba had sent to help escort the group to India. For many, this journey to be with Baba involved considerable sacrifice. Some had to give up jobs. Others moved out of their homes. And Margaret Krask even had to sell her ballet school.
The only way to go to Baba was to break all contracts and sell the school. As soon as the news of my unexplainable behaviour got around the dancing world, my telephone rang from morning to night, bringing me attacks from friends and enemies about my foolishness. We were possibly the first group of ordinary persons to embark on a trip of this kind. Margaret Krask.
The journey to India in March was pleasant, with an element of surprise, for Baba sent welcoming cables to us on the boat, reminding us of his orders not to sunbathe while crossing the Red Sea, to drink plenty of cooling drinks, and to keep happy and not to worry. Up to leaving London, we had been allowed to eat fish. After leaving London, no fish allowed. Not one detail did he leave for us to decide. Kitty Davy.
Also traveling with the group were 4 more women. Vivian Geeson, a dancer and protege of Nerina Machabelli's. Audrey Williams, a pupil of Margaret Krask's, who accompanied the party at Baba's request. Mabel Ryan, Margaret's partner at the ballet school. And Christine McNaughton, a waitress at the Knightsbridge Hotel in London, where Baba and the others stayed in late 1932.
Our party aroused a great deal of curiosity on the boat. It was the hot season in India and quite the wrong time for tourists to be going to the east. One of our parties, softened by sitting in the moonlight, told our story to some young man. This, later on, had quite serious consequences. Margaret Krask.
On April 6th, the party arrived in Bombay and were met at the dock by a group of Baba's men disciples. They stayed at the Hotel Majestic, and the next day, cars came to the hotel to take them to Kandavali, about 25 miles outside of Bombay, where Baba was awaiting their arrival. It was at Kandavali that the Western women met Baba's close Eastern women disciples for the first time. They were introduced first to Meher Baba's closest disciple, Mera. Then to Mani, Meher Baba's sister. Some of the other women in the ashram were Naja, Baba's cousin, who had known him since childhood; Golmai, the one Baba called his spiritual mother; Frani, Mera's sister; and Khorshed, who met Baba as a child with her family in 1922.
Shri Ganesha Charanam. Shri Ganesha.
We were delighted to meet Mera and Mani and those we had heard so much about. They were charming and made us feel immediately at home. I remember they had brought a number of beautiful saris for us to wear, a splendid thing to do, as thereby the East and West were joined together by a common interest. Baba was happy to see the two groups mingling so harmoniously.
They said many people in India have kept silent for a period of time. Even for as long as 12 years, they knew of one man. But the unusual part of Baba's silence is that he goes every place, converses with all people by board, and is not shut up away from people. Baba's mother loves Baba, but does not comprehend his divinity. Jal, his brother, was with him 2 years before he believed it. Baba wrote on the board that afternoon, "I am the one reality." Elizabeth Patterson.
On April 9th, Baba and the Western group, along with some of the Eastern men disciples, went for a 3-day visit to Bandadara, where Lake Arthur is found.
Looking over Lake Arthur and the distant mountains, Baba said, "My original self is in all, and it is beautiful. I made it beautiful." I asked him if he saw it very differently from us, and he replied with a smile, "Very."
In many ways, these 3 days were the best, so free from cares and worries. There was one little disturbance only. Earlier on the boat, Audrey and Christina had met 2 quite nice men, and naturally they wanted to correspond with them. Baba answered, "No, nothing of the kind. You have all come out here to be with a spiritual master." It was hard for the young ones to understand, but they obeyed Baba's orders in this matter.
On April 12th, the group traveled by train to Agra, where Baba took the party to see the Taj Mahal.
Somehow, Baba had arranged that our visit to this unbelievably beautiful place should coincide with the rising of the full moon at the back of the Taj, leaving us spellbound at the entrance gate. Baba's love, the beauty of the Taj, the slowly rising moon and the dark blue of the Indian sky met together in an enchantment never to be forgotten. Margaret Crask.
Baba turned to Narina. "What do you say about it?" he asked. She replied, "Since I have seen you, Baba, no outer beauty could satisfy me any more." Baba spelt out on his board, "And you do not yet see my real beauty."
At Agra, Baba delivered the surprising and disappointing news that the group was to be sent home in less than 2 weeks' time. The original plan of 6 months with him was shortened to just 3 weeks.
Baba called us to him individually and asked if we would mind if he had to send us back to Europe and America for his work. Not 6 months or longer, and no journey across the Pacific to be with Baba when he planned to break his silence in the Hollywood Bowl, so we thought. I mention this because it shows how little some of us understood in those early days what life with a spiritual master meant, or the real significance of Baba breaking his silence. Of course, we were all sad at the thought of returning to the West, but we knew Baba's will had to be obeyed. So we answered, "Whatever you say, Baba, we will do."
But the trip wasn't over yet. There were still spiritual places Baba planned for the group to see. On April 14th, the party left by train for Rawalpindi, and from there took 3 cars to Muri, the site of a prominent British military base.
To add the sweet to the bitter, Baba wanted to show us the beauties of Kashmir and the Himalayas. Baba was in a very serious mood at Marie and seemed to be working very hard. He again emphasized that we were all with him in India for spiritual reasons.
Baba rarely allowed his disciples to go anywhere without him on this first trip to India. But there was one occasion when Baba sent them out in groups of 2 or 3 for a walk without him. During the walk, Narina felt a curious restlessness and a strong desire to return. Delia agreed to return with her, and from a distance they saw Baba entering the hotel and sent word that they had returned.
Narina wrote in her diary, "Baba called me and looked sad, but at the same time pleased. He said, 'You were the only one who felt that I wanted to speak to you. I had important spiritual things to tell, but the mood has now gone.'"
When I returned later with the others, Baba said to me, "You should have felt my need." Thus we learnt the need to be conscious of him always.
On the morning of April 18th, Baba and his eastern and western followers left Muri for Srinagar in Kashmir, where they would stay for 5 days in houseboats on the Jhelum River.
Our evenings were spent in Baba's room all together, sometimes talking, other times explanations. We went to bed always early, and Baba liked us to be up early. Soon after 7 we were called.
During the days, Baba took the group sightseeing. On one of their outings, they journeyed north of Srinagar to a place called Harvan, where the Prince of Hyderabad had an